Today we're going to talk about a book that feeds those who are hungry, both spiritually and physically. Welcome to the Catholic Corner. I'm Monsignor Walter Nolan. The book that we're going to kind of have some fun with and talk about is called Hungry and You Fed Me, Homilies and Reflections for Cycle C. The book is a compilation of sermons and homilies for Cycle C in the liturgical year of our Catholic Church. It includes 65 homilies by 14 writers and preachers. One of those 14 writers, would you believe, is myself. Just so happens that my friend kind of asked me to say a few little words. But it's a tremendous gift that we share with each other and for each other. And my guests today are the editor and the artist for the book in its fulfillment and its blessings. Both are also very, very good friends of mine. Jim Nipper. Jim, God bless you. We've been friends a long time and just love you. Jim's a permanent deacon in the Catholic Church, and he served the faith community of the Church of St. Paul in Princeton. He's also CEO of J. Nipper and Company, which provides a variety of services to the healthcare industry. Jim and his wife Teresa live in Princeton and Cape May. They have 4 great sons. Jim's the editor of Hungry and You Fed Me. Welcome, Jim. Nice to have you with us.
Good to be back.
Brother Mickey O'Neill McGrath is an oblate of St. Francis de Sales. He's an artist and the author of 11 books, I think. He's a popular presenter and keynote speaker at conferences, parishes, retreat centers throughout the United States and Canada. Brother Mickey speaks on the connections between art and religious faith. He's created art for many of today's leading Catholic publishers. Since 1978, he's been a summer faculty member at the Grunwald Guild in Leavenworth, Washington, where he's been officially designated a Guild Master. As long as I've known you, Mickey, I don't think I knew that. Pretty impressive,
now the
isn't
cat's
it,
out
Jim?
of the bag.
Wow. Brother Mickey lives and works in Camden, New Jersey. Welcome, both of you. Really great to have you.
Great to be here.
Jim, tell me a little bit about this marvelous book that you edited and put together. I remember you came to me one time and said something, and I think I ran the other way.
He said, yeah, maybe. No, I had this, listen, homilies have always been a passion of mine in just growing up, to find a preacher who can take the gospel and to really break open the Word of God. I was really blessed growing up. Father Bill Bausch, who's a retired priest.
Just one of the greatest.
One of the greatest. Over 20 books on homilies. He was my pastor. Yeah. I mean, every Sunday was just an incredible treat. Yeah. Then went to University of Scranton and had Jesuits up there who really also know how to break up. Isn't there? Don't we have a pope who's a Jesuit now?
I think so.
I think so. And then, and then settled in Princeton. And, we were blessed to have your homilies, where you use the gift of storytelling to really break open the gospel book.
Irish, Jersey City, what else did you want?
It's a whole other show. So, I had this concept a little over a year ago of trying to take a number of these people that I know. I had spent some time traveling with Richard Rohr, and he was behind the book. And through traveling with Richard, met a number of people like Jim Martin and like Michael Leach and other people in the book, to try to tie these people together and say, how can we get a compilation of homilies, Christian, not only just Roman Catholic, but Protestant and Presbyterian and Episcopalian, to go ahead and put a book together that would really feed the souls of the readers.
So you actually decided on the 14 writers just in a sense from your heart and knowing who?
Yeah, it really came up from people who I know can break open the Word very well, from either personal connections through just kind of connections. Again, traveling with Richard and up in Connecticut, meet Michael Leach, who is the publisher emeritus of Orbis Books, has written a number of books and just an incredible writer. And sometimes reaching out. Deacon Greg Kendra of the Deacon's Bench, one of the largest deacon Catholic blogs there is in the world, reached out to Greg Kendra and he goes, I'd love to be part of it. So everyone I reached out to said, yes, it sounds like a great concept.
I'm glad you put something in there. I'd be embarrassed now, Mickey. You just kind of said, yeah, I know all these fellas, but God love you. Brother Mickey, tell me, you know, again, I appreciate your love of God and your gift of art and humor, and it's been a blessing since I first somehow, I think I was on a retreat that you gave, I think.
I think so.
And I was embarrassed because you did something on the retreat, I think, about drawing something, and you came by me and said, well.
It's not for everyone.
I never forgot that. But tell me a little bit. Tell me a little about the artwork in this presentation.
Well, when Jim approached me about being part of this project, I said yes right away. I think I didn't have to think twice because it's such a wonderful idea. So it's my first published iPad art. It's a drawing I created on my iPad, and that's something I got about 1.5 years ago, and I'll never stop painting or drawing in the traditional way, but it's really become a way to enhance my own morning meditations and work for publishers. You know, I can email it to them. So I'm trying to learn the best use of this new technology. So when Jim invited me to be part of the thing, I thought, I think this is the way to go. It'll, because I could send it to him right away for his approval, of course.
So on the iPad itself, you do a little. You can draw right on the iPad.
Yeah. I use a stylus.
Would you want me to show it, Gil?
Yeah. Why don't we try you again? See if you've learned anything since we first met.
Then we get their money back. Oh my gosh! What other images are there throughout the book? I mean, tell me a little bit.
Well, there are black and white divider pages for each of them, and I always approach projects like this as I've always loved illuminations, and you know, I always say maybe in my former life I was a monk in a scriptorium somewhere in Ireland, you know, and I love incorporating words into my work when appropriate. So when Jim was talking about this project, I said the interior should be black and white with words. So there's the dividers between each of the liturgical seasons. So there's, what, 5?
Now, did you have some of the homilies?
No, I had the Gospels. I hadn't read the homilies.
Better than the homilies. I mean,
I go right to the source.
They're not bad homilies at all, are they? Those 4. Yeah, those.
We have enough people buying the book for its cover only, right?
How come you didn't ask them to put something in there? You know,
absolutely.
I'm sure, you know, Matthew would have loved to got a little bit in there. Tell me about the. In the beginning of the show, I did mention that the book feeds those who are hungry, both spiritually and physically.
Sure.
Tell me about this, Jim.
So what I wanted to do was, all the contributors have been gracious enough to donate their material. So the net proceeds of the book are going to 4 charities that I've selected locally and that it would be meaningful. So, and charities who literally are feeding the hungry. So Trenton Area Soup Kitchen, which we all know about, Cranial Eighth Spiritual Center, which brings up the homeless men from Philadelphia and feeds them. Several Sources, who takes care of the mothers, and you know them real well, and you've had them here. And
those little babies on my lap.
Oh my gosh, you and I get those pictures, they suck you right in. And Women's Space, who takes care of battered women. So again, these are charities locally that we can reach out and touch to. We've been blessed to cut over $5,000 worth of checks to these charities in 4 or 5 months of time that the book's been on sale. So again, we're feeding the spiritual who read it, and at the same time feeding the hungry.
And Brother Mickey, I know you, and you've done some things too for poor and different things around Philadelphia areas and those places. What was your reaction to this, even in the whole notion of
the whole invitation? You know, when Jim, again, I didn't have to think twice because that's why I live in Camden. You know, I live and work in Camden, New Jersey. So I really have been trying to dedicate my work to causes of the relationship between beauty and social justice and peace. So this was right up my alley. I mean, I knew this was kind of a gift of the Holy Spirit here, kind of saying, you're on the right track, you know, that this is a way to use my gift in the promotion of Catholic social teaching. And
I'm glad you said the gift of the Holy Spirit and not you know, he gets enough credit without, you know, I mean.
Yeah, since there was no monetary gift involved. I have to go to the Holy
Teresa
Spirit
tonight. You know, we don't want him to become floating in here. God love you. So those 4 organizations, are you going to do more, Jim? Are you going to spread it out to other organizations, or you want to stick with those 4 or what?
So what I'm going to do is keep the 4 for this book, which leads into the question that we're getting asked more and more by the readers, and that is, are we going to come out with the next book for Cycle A, which begins, as you know, the first Sunday of Advent in December. And the answer is yes, we are. And that one will be called Naked and You Clothe Me. And Mickey's already come up with the artwork for the cover, which we'll unveil in a couple months. But again, we'll find four charities.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, unveil. You know? But again, we'll find four charities that are focused on literally clothing the naked and helping out. And those four charities
So
will
there might be
featured.
different charities
there
than
will be
these four.
Different charities for the next book, correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit. You've been offering this book to.
So what we've done with this book right now, in order to maximize the profit for charities, we've been selling it only on the publisher's website. So I'm part owner of the publishing company. We have the website cvpublishing.com, and all the sales have been going through there. In a short period of time, we'll be working on getting it into Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and knowing that they'll end up picking up 50% of the price, but at least will allow us to get a wider distribution. Because again, we're getting people calling us saying, I want it on my Kindle, I want it on my Nook. So we will go ahead and take that next step. But we wanted to sell as many books as we could through the website.
So in a couple of years, when the cycle comes around again, I can't use my homily. People will be sitting out there saying,
Hey, wait a second, I bought your book, I don't. No, you have great material. And then we will be working, obviously, on Cycle B, and then we'll have the whole series, and we'll box the set.
That's terrific.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
The folks who contributed.
So the folks have been contributive of all graciously. I don't know if you know it, but you've already agreed to come back to the next book.
I have.
Yes, you have. You probably that email's
me,
lost. Email's lost. All the contributors have agreed to come back. What's more exciting is I have 10 more contributors who are coming in.
Interesting.
And some real big names. Sister Simone Campbell will be on board with us. Father Greg Boyle, the Jesuit in LA, working with the gangs. Controversial but evangelical Rob Bell, author of a couple great books that have come out, has agreed to be in the book. So we're really excited about some of the names that we've added, and again have spread it out, both men and women, various Christian faiths and denominations, to really give the reader a different view of the gospel depending on who they're reading.
Unfortunately for me, there's no new artist involved. Just
He hasn't been bumped. No one can replace Mickey.
Nobody. But some of the names you mentioned, Jim, I mean, I just happen to either know personally or have read, and they're just exciting people and have a great way of bringing the Word of God right into the contemporary, I think, scene, which is an important thing to do.
It really has taken on the legs of its own. I mean, it has its own Facebook page where the community of readers are now coming together, and where we're posting every day, every other day, new artwork from Mickey or a new homily from whoever may be in the book, a contributor who's posted a recent homily. But it has caught on to, here's Rob Bell, one of the bestsellers, and I met him after one of the events, and he signed a book that I was buying of his, and I gave him one of these, and he's like, homilies, I love homilies. It's all about homilies. It's all about breaking open the gospel. And I reached back out to him. I said, Rob, would you be willing to contribute? He said, oh, I'd be honored to be in that book. So, Sister Simone Campbell, and she wrote right back to me. She said, sure, absolutely. Tell me what you want me to do. I'll be happy to give you a homily. So these are just people who really are just grounded people who can break open the gospel. And I think the next book is going to be so much more exciting than this one even.
What about some of your readers? Have they contacted you back?
Yes, I mean, we've got, again, the Facebook page we have, which is facebook.com/homilist, has been a great place for readers to go ahead and either get more information about the book or post comments. And the comments we're getting are all outstanding. Matter of fact, I got a phone call in my office, and it was a book publisher from Canada. So I'm relatively new to this, and he goes, do you know how difficult it is to get books exported to Canada? I said, no. He explained it, and he said, here's the situation I have. I have a Monsignor down the street from me, and he wants 3 books Wednesday for something he's going to be doing in the diocese. So you need to overnight those to me, and then we want to be carrier of your books. We've sold over 150 books in Canada through this distributor, and it really has taken off. So the feedback we're getting are people just really are enjoying what's being provided to them. Just, they're finding their own favorite person. They're taking a look at it. They're taking a look at your storytelling or the one of Michael Doyle, or taking a look at Greg Kendra's viewpoint, and it's really getting great feedback.
Those 10 people that made a comment about that's my family. You know?
I
mean,
understand that they all happen to have the same last name and all Jersey City email addresses, but yeah, I noticed.
Jim and Mickey, help me with this. When you're doing artwork, because it's a homily, isn't it? Isn't artwork a homily, a different expression of a homily, or word, drawing, music? It all somehow is different ways of kind of taking our attention or taking our own gifts of God and making it. Do you look for anything in particular, like when you're thinking of something for a book like this? I mean, do you think, okay, what kind of people, who would be going to be looking at this, or how do I want to make my work a homily in itself, or Jim and yourself, how do what do I think, like what kind of homilies do I want to have in there? Is there a variety, right brain, left brain? Help me with those kind of thoughts.
Well, with me, I didn't approach it any differently than I approach any of my work, which is just be true to myself. Whatever. I'll pray with the scriptures that I'm been asked to illustrate, and this one was obvious: hungry and you fed me. For me, what I find in my audience already built in is people love color. And they love joyfulness. They're tired of the dour-looking saints, that you want things to uplift people, So that's my first consideration in my piece of it. But you mentioned about homilies, and that's exactly how I have come to think of my work, because I do a lot of presentations using it, and I tell the story behind it, and so I've started to identify myself as a storyteller as well through the painting medium. And I learned a couple of years ago that St. Alphonsus Liguori used to paint his homilies sometimes. He would work on a painting and just bring it into church and show it and talk about it, as a way
I'll be looking for that Sunday with you.
Yeah,
you actually reminded me of something that it was Christmas, I think, and I had a painting of one of the famous artists, of the Kresh set.
Remember that?
And I was talking to you about it. And next thing, this is the genius, man. All of a sudden you got this. I don't know where you got it from, but on a poster, and actually we used that as a homily for Christmas. I don't know, 10 years ago. I don't remember what it was,
That's
but
right.
it was a great
cool.
idea that you. I still have that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah,
it was a great idea.
Maybe I can shrink it and send it to you. But you can
put it in the
place
next
it in the book or something. But that's because we are people that need to look at our eyes and ears and even touch and things. One of the things I was thinking about is I haven't done this, and now that I've gotten a little bit older, I'm not as active in a sense of in the parish. But I often wondered about just using the iPad or using something that can make different kind of connections, which I think would be a pretty interesting way of like saying using one of your drawings and one of your homilies and putting them together and saying, well, here it is,
Really attract the kids.
Tell me, Jim. Now, when you look at some of the homilies that come to you, is there a way that you kind of say, okay, I'm looking for a story at the beginning or something that catches somebody, or how do you look at these things that are presented to you?
Sure. From an editing point of view, what we try to do is take a look at each person has their own style. Maybe a storytelling style. Maybe I like to take a look at the historical aspect and then bring it into the current. Maybe someone like Deacon Greg has a very shorter style. Pastor Dave Davis of Nassau Presbyterian has maybe a longer style because of what it is. So I try not to change their style. We take a look from an editing point of view almost from a technical aspect because I don't want to change the style. So some people may go through and it's like, oh, I'm not into storytelling, I'm more into this style. We don't want to have that kind of effect on it. So we want to keep the sound of it. Same with Richard Rohr's work that is in here. Richard was gracious enough to join the book. These are homilies that he gave at his local church. So they were transcript, and then we edited down his transcript so they would be, instead of an audio version, would be ready for the book. But again, keeping his same voice. So we look for a variety, and I think that's one of the feedback that we are getting from the readers, is that it's such a great variety. There's something in there for everybody. Even our own bishop said, I got your book, Jim, and I read it, and I really enjoy it. There's some stuff in there I don't like, but there's other stuff actually I've used and that I really enjoy. So, there's something in there, I think, for everybody.
I know myself when I either look at something, you know, a painting, or I listen to music, or when I try to put a homily together, I think my first reaction is, do I like it?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, you know, I don't know how many different kind of psychological profiles there are out there, but I figured, well, if I like it, there must be some people kind of like me, so at least I got a little percentage of the people that probably would.
Those 10 people in your
those
family.
10 people in my family, you know.
Now, let me tell you, he's being modest, because he would come in and he would say to us, I said, how's your homily? I hate it, it's awful. I don't know, but I'm just going to give it. And he'd go out there and he'd give a homily. He would knock the ball out of the park, right? And
not always, not always, you know. But we have fun though.
We do.
I think that's an idea is how do you bring joy?
Well,
because you know,
I had learned a lesson years ago. I did posters for the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops for their home mission appeal. And I remember the very first year I was invited to do that, I went down to DC and met with them, and I said, you know, we shouldn't be doing posters with the starving, malnourished kid holding a bowl out. You know, that works on people's sympathies. But I designed a poster. It looked like a patchwork quilt with all the different images, bright colors, and their donations spiked that year. You know, it's people want to be. Yeah. If you want to bring people to the good news, make it look good, like good news, not make it look downtrodden, and you know. So that was the same approach here, and it's been my approach to everything ever since. You know, make things appealing, make it something that people want to open. You know,
I think that's what the reader and the congregation, they're coming. They want to walk away with 8 to 10 minutes of good news.
Yeah,
something that they can take away for the week to help them live the next week and make it till next Sunday. You know.
You know, a long time ago, I don't laugh at this now, but I actually went to clown school. You know, I was supposed to go skiing and there was no snow. It's a long story, and my beautiful sister said, "You don't have to go to school." She said, you know, yeah. But you know, I learned something which I think kind of helped the homilies a little bit in a sense, and even when I look at it in faith, and that's why I think this, you know, this book and the work you do, Brother Mickey, is always so beautiful to me. You know, when you think of good clowning, I mean, or I'll say bad clowning is when you kind of take something sacred and profane it and leave it there. Mm-hmm. And you know, we can do that. You know, we can make fun of somebody and people might laugh, but the person walking away that you made fun of is hurt. Right. Or we can take something sacred and maybe profane it a little bit, only to make it more sacred. And I say to myself, when I first got that little concept of clowning, I said, that's religion. That's our faith. Because what do? You know, I mean, we're all sacred. I mean, thank God, we're all brothers and sisters, and God created us all sacred. But sometimes, you know, because we're sacred, we're not always so perfect. And what do? We come in, you know, to church, I'll say, kind of like, you know, sacred. And what's the first thing we do? We kind of profane us a little bit by saying, you know, yeah, I remember during the week, you know, maybe Lord have mercy, you know, Christ have mercy. Right. But hopefully the homily, certainly the scriptures, and hopefully the homily and whatever, the artwork, or even in churches where you go in and see statues or stained glass windows, hopefully all of a sudden somebody starts to build himself back up again, and someone starts to say, you know, I'm really a son of God, or I'm really a daughter of God, or however you want to put that. And hopefully they walk out with a smile on their face, or they walk out feeling good. Not that we're perfect, but there's a sense of the holiness that comes to us. And I think I've seen that in your work. I've seen that in your own business as well as the work you do. Right. And I say to myself, maybe to me that's a key that the homily should, you know, we have to teach each other, and we have to tell each other that but on the way, somehow or other, to be able to say, but you know what, God, not you and I in our homilies, or maybe not in your artwork so much, but with the gift that God gave you, all of a sudden you build somebody back up, and they kind of walk out, or they read a book, or they see some of the artwork. Because I've used some of your artwork, you know this, and I said, God, he makes me smile. So he makes me smile. You know, others can, and you look at it and you say, wow, you know. And somebody says, you know what? I'm glad I went to church. I'm glad I went to one of your presentations, Brother Mickey. I'm glad I have a book that somehow makes me feel as a real son and daughter of God. And I think that's what I see. I know what you do in your work and what you do in your work, and that's why we say, hungry and you fed me, because we're feeding each other to be more a son and daughter of God, and to recognize that in each other. And I think that's maybe our goals, and that's kind of what we're looking for. Is that, speak to me about some of that. Help me out.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the reason we wanted to go ahead and put this book together. We saw that there's a need out there. There are people who are coming to church and they are hungry. You know, times have not been really easy, both financially and spiritually, and there are people who are hurting, and they're coming to church and they're looking to be fed. And all too often, there's great homilies in there, and you're a great homilist, et cetera. People are going to church and they're not being fed the way they want to be. And so what we want to do was pull a compilation together to go ahead and help some of these people. And the feedback we're getting is that, you know, they're really enjoying it.
You know, Brother Mickey, you got to help me with this one too. I know you have some things about Irish saints. Mm-hmm. I came across this Irish saint that I never heard of before. Saint, not Agnes, Ognus, O-E-G-N-U-S. And they actually called him a cuddly of God. So I had to kind of do a little work. What's this cuddly of God stuff? And it comes from the Latin, which really means a companion of God. Oh. And I said to myself, you know, that's where the joy is. I mean, because the saints make us laugh if we really look at you know, their work and their blessing. And maybe, again, we can, you want to know the homily? What's coming up?
On it.
If the sea comes what, eh? I mean, maybe I'll gotta go home tonight and say, okay, Jim, I'll give you this little thing here.
Yeah, your work is due to me June 1.
Oh, my God, to make this thing. So, what are your hopes for the whole series now, Jim and Brother Mickey? Because you're going to use Brother Mickey for the whole series.
Absolutely.
I just wish there were more cycles than just A, B, and C.
Well, we'll make them up. We'll make them up.
We just circle right back around,
right?
right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
You know, my hope is, again, to finish out this whole series and put the cycle together. And there's nothing with saying we won't start from the beginning again and come up with another compilation. I also have a couple other projects on the side that I'd like to go ahead and take a look at. And, you know, questions confirmation kids have. Over the years, you've interviewed them, I've interviewed them. And, you know, I have the top 30 questions kids are asking, Catholic teenage kids are asking at confirmation time. It'd be a great book to put together and have answered by different guest people.
And answered also not just in words, but maybe also in other. Go ahead, Brother.
But also one of the things I love about the book, I've been reading them just on the Sunday when they're, you know, I haven't read ahead to everything. But I love the fact that it's so ecumenical too, you know, that we're hearing from a variety of voices, you know, that we all have something to learn from each other. We don't hold all the answers, you know, and that speaks, that's a large part of why that book's such a terrific compilation.
Well, I know you're planning some more. Boy, keep up that great generosity, and I think the whole idea that we can feed each other spiritually as well as physically, because there are so many people in the world that need a little more food and a little more growth. Jim and Mickey, I'm proud to be a part of your friendships, and let's just keep bringing God's word in many different ways, okay?
Thank you, BP.
Hungry and you fed me. Please be a part of us. You got some ideas? Get a hold of us and know that we love you and we're part of God's wonderful gift to his faith and to his people. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks very much.